SWOT strategy matrix actually takes all of your strengths and weaknesses that you already, the analysis that you already have done through the situation analysis, and takes and examines your external factors like opportunities and threats. So you've already listed your strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats, and then you try to see how you can meet those opportunities, how you can actually leverage your opportunities with your strengths, and maybe what are the weaknesses that you need to fix or redesign your practices in order to take advantage of your opportunities. The first two strategies are max, in other words, how to maximize strengths and how to maximize opportunities. Aggressive strategies, number one, and number two, redesign strategies, where you try to minimize your weaknesses yet to maximize your opportunities. We have two more scenarios. One is when you are trying to meet certain threats with your strengths. How do you do that? Well, maybe you have some great strengths, but you have huge threats on the market. So the answer is to diversify. In other words, to use your strengths in new markets, in new places. And finally, weaknesses meeting your threats. That's where you need to be defensive. In other words, you have lots of weaknesses and at the same time you have lots of threats on the market. So you should consider how to maybe either liquidate or divest, sell parts of your business, etc., etc. This will become more clear when I show you the following example. I have created a scenario of your website, for example. Maybe you have effective, professionally done website. That's definitely a strength. And you sell innovative, high-end products. At the same time, you have certain problems, certain issues, internal weaknesses, such as you are not placed high on search engines. There is a lack of online marketing experience. Your product is expensive. You don't even have e-commerce capability on your site. In other words, you don't have a shopping basket, so you are not really completely ready. At the same time, you have some huge opportunities, like, for example, growing offline and online demand for your products, or growing online sales on international markets. But you have certain threats, emerging international competition with lower price products. So, as you can see, some as realistic as possible scenario listing a couple of your strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats. So the big question is, what do you do with those? How can you actually meet your opportunities with your strengths? How do, for example, your weaknesses meet your threats? And what can you do? What are your 4 groups of strategies? Well, number one, if you really want to be aggressive, right? You want to take advantage of your excellent website and growing demand, then the strategy, or I should say the tactics here, is to advertise on Google. Advertise on Google locally and internationally and take advantage of those opportunities. Number 2, we are now trying to see what do we do about our weaknesses in order to leverage our opportunities. So here are 1, 2, 3 different groups of actually tactics that can help you with addressing your weaknesses and redesigning your business in order to take advantage of those opportunities. For example, you might want to optimize your website for search engines. You might want to build a shopping basket on your website, and you might want to hire experienced web marketing professionals. Number 3, diversify quadrant. What do you do when you have excellent strengths, you have great website, etc., etc., yet you have lots of emerging international competition? Well, the answer is build an online brand, build trust, excuse me, build relationships with existing customers, maybe through e-newsletter marketing, where you actually try to remind them of your company, increase their interest in your products, offer them special incentives or rewards, try to make them more loyal. And finally, we are trying to match our weaknesses. We are trying to see how our weaknesses match with our threats and what we can do about them. We can be defensive, of course. Number 1, we might want to partner with some international suppliers, for example, in order to be much more competitive. As you can see, being competitive is really important at this stage. Also, we might want to outsource part of the web work internationally, again, in order to not only address our weakness of lack of online marketing experience, but also address a possible threat in terms of emerging international competition with lower priced products. So as you can see, there are 4 different groups of strategies and tactics. You might want to be aggressive, you might want to redesign your practices, you might want to diversify, or you might want to be defensive. But interestingly, you can even apply all 4 at the same time. In other words, you actually should think about all 4 at the same time. So you'll be aggressive in some ways, but also defensive in some other way.